Hey, so on my video about the article I wrote about James Lindsay last year, there was left a comment. Just one comment. And that comment has essentially inspired this video. Now, first off, I want to say that this comment, I consider it dishonest. Because the person who left it claims to have read my article, but got a key fact very, very wrong. So, this video will be about race and liberalism, and how liberalism is to deal with race. So, the comment that was left said, after reading your article, I believe I can summarize your point that James Lindsay believes in treating everyone equally, and you believe in treating people differently based on race. That's not true. That's not what I said in the video. That's not what I said in my article. I said the exact opposite, actually. James Lindsay supports treating people differently based on race. And I'm going to explain why. And I did explain why in my article. So, let's talk about race denial. Race denial is rooted in Marxism. Okay, the first race denialist was Franz Boas, who praised Lysenko, who was a Marxist, and I know James Lindsay has actually mentioned Lysenko before. So I know that he is aware of Lysenko, and yet he is proposing Lysenkoism. Now, Franz Boas was not looking at evidence when he began denying race. There was already evidence that race was a real thing, that there are differences between the races. And there was, and there has continued to be evidence that there are different races, that the races are different. This has continued consistently across over 100 years. Race is a very real thing. I recommend Philip Rushton's book, Race, Behavior, and Evolution. Or Race, Evolution, and Behavior. I can't remember which way it is. It's Philip Rushton's book. And the thing is, people like to say that Rushton is wrong, but they never address his arguments. They never address his evidence. All Rushton did was collect scientific studies and analyze them. That's all he did. So he had evidence, and the evidence was not produced by him. It was simply collected by him. So when dismissing Rushton, people just call him names or say that because he claims there are racial differences, he is wrong, which is not scientific at all. That's not honest. That is very, very dishonest, actually. Now, people believe that just acknowledging racial differences means that you want to discriminate based on race. That is not the case, and I'm going to talk about that in this video. First of all, it is the race denialists are the ones who are currently discriminating based on race. Affirmative action, DEI, critical race theory, H-1B visas, which James Lindsay supports, all discriminate based on race. And the purpose of this discrimination is to make up for other alleged discrimination, which can't be proven to exist because it just doesn't exist. The simple fact is that when there are different races, when there are differences between the races, the different races are going to categorically come up differently. They're going to have different levels of success. They're going to have different levels of crime. They're going to have different levels of wealth. This is just a matter of fact. People are different. people end up in different spots in life. No, you shouldn't be expecting everyone to become equal in outcome. That's not liberal. That is Marxist. And so the theory that everyone is identical, everyone is exactly the same, the blank slate theory, which, by the way, there is so much evidence against the blank slate theory. Read a biological anthropology textbook. Read The Red Queen by Matt Ridley. Read Luann Brisendine's 2 books on the male and female brain. Read Steven Pinker's book on the blank slate. The blank slate is not true. And this goes for race as well. Read Rushton's book. And if you have a problem with what his evidence is, then I will listen to you. But if you're just name-calling him, dismissing him because he believes in racial differences, I can't accept what you're saying. So, the theory that everyone is identical is the cause for racial discrimination. Because when people who are different end up in different spots in life, and you believe that everyone is the same, the only explanation you can come up with is that there is discrimination going on. And so to fix that, you must discriminate again in order to correct this discrimination, this original discrimination. But this is a fallacy, because people are different. So we expect people to be in different spots in life. Now, when I say what I said in my article and in my video is that removing authority, removing force, removing coercion, and allowing everyone to fall where they naturally belong, where they naturally operate best at, is the most liberal option. That is the most liberal option. This Marxist argument of pure equality has infiltrated liberalism, and liberals have accepted it. That does not mean that it is a liberal argument. It is a Marxist argument. And I do agree with James Lindsay on this, that Marxism is the problem, not liberalism. So, and what I'm saying here is nothing new. Back in the 1800s, there was Herbert Spencer, there was William Graham Sumner. They founded social Darwinism. Now, social Darwinism sounds like a scary term, but it's not. And what social Darwinism is libertarianism. It is getting the government uninvolved in the livelihoods and lives of the populace. That's all it is. Leaving everyone alone. That's all social Darwinism is. And it wasn't social Darwinism that led to eugenics. That was actually just plain old Darwinism. Francis Galton began preaching eugenics before Herbert Spencer and William Graham Sumner had proposed the social consequences of Darwinism. And just so you know, there are lectures about both Herbert Spencer and Sumner on YouTube, and there is an audiobook of Sumner's Forgotten Men and Other Essays, which is freely available on YouTube. It is also available on LibriVox, so you don't have to be ignorant about this. You can go and familiarize with yourself with the information. Then, of course, you get into the mid-1900s, and you have Rothbard and Rand. Now, I'm not as familiar with Rand as I am with Rothbard. Rothbard was so in favor of laissez-faire government. Well, he was so against government that he actually believed that parents do not have an obligation to care for their children. I am not proposing anything that radical. I am actually saying that if you neglect your children, you should probably go to jail. But what I am saying is that if you are an adult, the government should be uninvolved in your life. Welfare should not exist, DEI should not exist, affirmative action should not exist, H-1B visas, which, by the way, H-1B visas do discriminate. They are targeted largely at non-white populations. That is a racial law. That is a racial policy. So yes, H-1B visas are discrimination which has been enshrined in law. So get rid of all of this for adults, and just let everyone fall where they operate best. Now, as far as white nationalism goes, if you read Hop or Insula Key, there is no need for force to create a white nation. There is simply the need to remove force. And Jared Taylor also says the same thing. Jared Taylor is allowed. There are videos of him talking on YouTube. Jared Taylor, Insula Key, and Hans Hermann Hoppe all believe in freedom of association. I also believe in freedom of association. Now, what happens when you remove... Well, right now we don't have freedom of association. You are forced to sell to the first person who has the money. You are forced to provide service to people of all races. You are forced to hire to be an equal opportunity employer. These are all force. There is no freedom of association in the United States anymore. Now, once you remove the restrictive laws, the coercive laws that force people to interact with people who they don't want to interact with, once you remove equal opportunity laws and anti-discrimination laws, the government should not be discriminating. Individuals should be allowed to discriminate because that is freedom of association. But once you remove these anti-discrimination laws, people will naturally tend towards their own kind. This is just an observation. It's not hateful to say it. People, and this is very obvious when you look at ethnic communities in the United States. People of certain races tend to stick together. They tend to congregate together. They tend to live in the same area. They tend to avoid outsiders. So naturally, if you remove these anti-discrimination laws, naturally you will end up with a white area because there are white people who want to live around white people. So no, I do not support forcing anyone or coercing anyone or discriminating against anyone based on race, at least not by the government. I do believe in removing government authority over the lives of people. I do believe in allowing people to live how they want, to associate with who they want, and to operate as best as they can in any way that they are able. This is not hateful. This is just acknowledging reality. That's about all I wanted to say. Thank you for watching. Peace.